It's interesting that really the most powerful spiritual tools are the simplest. They might not always be easy because we have to really practice them before they become easy because we're really deprogramming all that complexity and effort
Right.
that we're just raised in and learn and match and become as part of the
Mm.
world. But
Yes.
it's all very simple. It's not complex at all.
No, the tools are simple. The thing that's not simple is our mind.
Yeah.
Our
Our
mind,
mind wants to make it so complex and so
yes, mind gets in there because our mind wants to run our life. Our ego comes in, mind and ego, they're buddies. And they're like, ah, we're in charge here. You're not in charge. But they forgot we are in charge. We are in charge of our lives as because we are the soul.
It's just a reminder and then a decision, really, to recognize, oh, I've unconsciously let the mind, the ego, jump in the driver's seat for a moment. And maybe I should jump back in the driver's seat as the soul awareness that I am and forgive myself
Yes, of course.
for letting that ego and mind jump in there for a while. And yeah,
And most people really don't even realize that because once again, we're not taught that. And
yeah.
so and it's so focused on education. You want to educate yourself, and education is about the mind, right? It's not about you as a
Exactly. This comes up so often in conversations with psychic friends is that difference between the way the world wants to approach education is purely the intellect. There's no space in our current educational system for recognition of spiritual awareness and presence. It should be a balance, right? It's important to develop the intellect as well and learn about the world and learn about history and be able to communicate and articulate those parts of developing the intellect are important.
right,
But that's all that we're taught. But actually, that's just a tool, the intellect. That's not who you are.
right,
Then people walk around really believing, identifying with that as who they are. All
right.
of intellectual knowledge and information, that way of seeing from the intellect. And when you think that's who you are or what you are, you're missing out on this vast
Yes.
resource within you
Yeah.
of a deeper level of information and a simpler level of information, that intuitive knowingness, and also all that creative power that comes
Right.
from that.
Exactly. Exactly. It interferes with your creativity because it's what you learned in a book. And if the book doesn't say this, then it must not be possible or true, or you must not be able to do it. We lose sight of who we are as a soul, because we come in here, the soul comes in and we take a body, and this is our body for this lifetime.
Yeah.
But we are the soul that comes in. And then as we are here, we come into this dense reality, and there's certain rules and regulations that are set up
It's
for,
called so many things, right?
yeah, for how
The
we're supposed
Matrix, the
to,
dream.
who we really are. So there's not a lot of permission for us to be who we truly are, because there's really not a lot of support unless you start branching out and going into more spiritual groups and people who have this type of an awareness. Because really, we didn't come here just to learn from books. We came here to express ourselves as the soul that we are. And we all have different gifts. Like you said, it limits the creativity, because if you didn't learn it in a book, then it must not be acceptable, right?
Right.
Books have all the information. We certainly don't have the information. How would
Even books about creativity, that you're not going to find how, you're not going to discover how you create. How does your soul express? How does your soul see? How does your soul move energy? How does your soul create? And that's unique for each of us. This path of learning spiritual tools, meditation, various practices are all about really self-knowing, getting to know yourself as the spiritual being that you are. So
absolutely.
you can
It's
express
about
that creativity.
it's about giving ourselves permission to have that awareness.
Yeah.
And again, there's fear around that as well, because the world has created a certain fear around being spiritual and what that means.
Yeah.
And really, there's a lot of, again, distraction energy.
Distraction and fear. I see so much in the media. Sometimes I wonder, are there any movies or shows that depict having spiritual awareness in a way that doesn't include fear? Maybe there are, and I'm not aware of them, but I've seen so many where either it's about, a group of people that has some sort of psychic ability, but there's so much fear woven into that,
Right,
and
right,
violence, and it's
right,
never really depicted accurately or in a positive way.
right. Well, the word psychic,
Still kind of fun, all these people have superpowers. It's depicted as like superpowers and special, not something that anyone can tap into for
right.
themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. it's been either sensationalized or it's been neglected. And the word
Right.
has also been misused, or should I say, misinterpreted, because psychic means of the soul. And a
Yeah.
lot of people don't know that.
Right.
And it's such a simple thing. And yet it's got such a bad connotation.
Yeah. Really elicits a much different picture in people's minds than
So it's just,
to your soul is psychic, but it kind of comes across more as scary or special or weird, or
right.
you're oriented towards seeing the future, reading the crystal ball.
Yeah. And it's not even true. None of that is really true. It's something that's been concocted in the world by somebody's interpretation who
Right.
wasn't looking at the energy or seeing what was going on.
It was more of an intellectual misinterpretation.
Right, exactly. They probably learned it in a book somewhere.
Yeah.
So,
Really
somebody said that this is how it is,
Yeah.
and then it believes it, and that's called programming. Why does anybody believe that?
Yeah.
It's
sort of the collective agreement of pictures, right? The collective mental concept. Now, I think it's starting to shift. I see certain words like soul and psychic used closer to their correct meaning, or to what we're pointing out when we use those words. It's definitely moving in the right direction.
Yeah. It is changing. I feel like people are waking up and they're beginning to see the fairy tale.
Yeah.
To say it nicely.
What's another way of describing the world? Like a video game.
Right, exactly. Everybody has their rose-colored glasses on because they don't really see what's going on. They just want to have a nice day, which I get. We all do that from time to time. Oh, if I put my rose-colored glasses on, it's going to be a beautiful day.
Yeah.
Nothing bad is going to happen, which I understand, because all you have to do is leave your house. And it's like going out into the world could be a scary place at this point.
Just all the chaos energy, and conflict and suffering and grief and sorrow. There's just a lot. Everyone's going through so much.
Yeah, it's a lot. All of us that are here right now embodies however many, there's a lot of us. I forget what the number is of the population on planet Earth, but we are all very brave souls.
Yeah. Over 8 billion now, I think. There's a lot of us here in bodies.
Yes. And so we are brave souls to be here. It's a big deal.
It's a big deal that we're here right now.
If anybody thinks they're wimpy, it's not the case.
That's right.
You're brave.
Yeah, you signed up for some important, fun times on planet Earth. This takes my thoughts back to something you mentioned earlier of just how impactful it is to be in your happy place.